trigonometric identity we had to verify was tan squared theta times sine squared theta equals tan squared theta minus sine squared theta.
To verify this equation, we will start from the right side. Tangent squared theta is equal to sine squared theta over cosine squared theta. And since sine squared theta is just sine theta times sine theta, that's what we have here. And we moved sine squared theta down, except we wrote it as a fraction as sine theta times sine theta over 1.
From this step that we have here, we multiplied sine squared over 1 by cosine squared over cosine squared to get a common denominator with the first fraction. Now we have sine squared over cosine squared minus sine squared cosine squared over cosine squared, and we have a common denominator.
Now we're going to factor out sine squared theta from the numerator. So sine squared theta divided by sine squared theta equals 1. And sine squared theta times cosine squared theta divided by sine squared theta equals cosine squared theta. And this works because if we use the distributive property, we can multiply sine squared theta times 1 minus sine squared theta times cosine squared theta, which was our original numerator.
Based off the Pythagorean identity, cosine squared theta plus sine squared theta equals 1, we can derive that 1 minus cosine squared theta is equal to sine squared theta, and we can put this into our numerator.
So now we have sine squared times sine squared over cosine squared. So now we're going to separate it into sine squared over cosine squared times sine squared over 1. And this works because sine squared times sine squared will be the same over cosine squared times 1, which would be sine squared times sine squared over cosine squared times 1. And now we can turn sine squared over 1 into sine squared, and because we know any number divided by 1 is itself. So we take this away, and now we have sine squared over cosine squared times sine squared.
In the numerator of this fraction, we have sine theta times sine theta, which is sine squared theta, and this is divided by cosine squared theta. We know from one of our identities that sine squared theta over cosine squared theta is equal to tangent squared theta, which we will put in place of this fraction. Sine theta times sine theta is equal to sine squared theta, and we'll put this in place of this. The equation on the right is now equal to the equation on the left, which was our objective from the beginning.